I do a lot of shutter replacements in my area, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen that I've gone through a couple different variations of different techniques and fasteners and things that I use to do it. I had a video showing lag shields or lead anchors that we used to call them, and I was using these Fasten Master structural screws, which I think anyone would agree is way overkill, but it did the job and they never come off again. I also would use the lag shields with the screws that are included with the shutters, which are these screws. They're 3/16, and everyone knows that these plastic anchors end up doing that. They break, they go through freeze and thaw cycles, or they loosen up in the mortar. And sure enough, in several years, people see missing shutter pins or loose ears on the shutters corners and everything. So I went from the overkill to using these Cobra anchors, which are great. They work in masonry. I would have to take out the plugs and dig them out of the hole, and then drill out the holes, because these are 1/4-inch holes. Drill out the holes to 5/16 for the blue Cobra anchors. Insert those in, and then drive in the shutter screws that you can get, the color match shutter screws, or any other different screw. I would use these from High Point, which are really high quality, and they also have the benefit of having larger heads. You can see the washer head on them. It's quite a bit larger, and that makes a difference if you've already got a 1/4-inch hole drilled in your shutter. That gives you a lot more grab on it. So I use those. What I've discovered is that if you're just replacing these plastic anchors with screws, and you're not replacing the entire shutter, meaning the shutter can stay up there, and you're going into the same holes that these are coming out of, that instead of this plastic anchor, you actually already have a plastic anchor in there, if it's still there. What I've done the last couple jobs, and it worked really well, and I'll show some video of how I did it. But basically, these, when they break off, that's about what's left here, and that's the width of the shutter. I think it's an 1/8 or about 1 inch. So usually you have the rest of this anchor sitting in the hole, or most of it. It's sitting in the hole in the brick or in the mortar joint or wherever it is. So if it's in the brick and it's a hollow point in the brick, it may disappear. And if that happens, then I just go and I use one of the Cobra anchors. So what I've been doing is just taking these and driving them into the rest of the anchor that's left in the mortar joint. I end up having a much tighter connection than with these Cobras, because even if you don't get it to drive directly into the plastic anchor and it goes beside it, it's basically wedging itself between the anchor and the mortar joint or the brick, and it's a very, very tight connection. The 2.5-inch screws work great. The 3-inch ones, I find it's just overkill, because once you've got, that much, if I have that much screw in that anchor and it works, then having that much screw in all of that plastic anchor that's left in the wall is going to be even more and stronger and tighter. And that's what I found when I put them in. The screw, when I use these, it's secure and it's fine. It's not going anywhere, but I can still, it's much easier to loosen the screw than when it goes into the old plastic anchor. I've done probably dozens of these so far, dozens of shutters, not just anchors, and they're all holding up great. And it's a real time saver. You're up on a ladder, you don't have as many tools and everything, so it's a lot faster, especially the ones on the first floor. You can just bang one out in about 5 minutes, just by cutting off the anchors behind the shutter and then just driving that screw in. I hope you enjoyed this tip, and I hope it saves you some time, and have a good one.